Hey guys, and welcome back to Wrong Ones. The IPL is finally over after 7.5 weeks of trauma, excitement, and a lot of other emotions in between. So, as we promised, we were going to be back at the end of the IPL to review the season that happened. We promised you a lot of big boys returning. Instead, there's only two of them. The others haven't shown up. That's not on us. That's on them. But we're going to go through each team's performance from 8 to 1. I'm going to look at a few things that worked, what didn't work, who were their standout performers, who was the Maxwell for their team, and we'll we'll see how it goes from there. Okay, so let's start with first team number. What?
Damn. I love the hates already coming out, Ahaan.
It wasn't hate. I love Maxwell as a player, but let's be honest, he was the biggest disappointment in the tournament overall. But let's start from number 8, Rajasthan Royals. So what worked? Who wants to start us off?
I'll go.
Yeah.
Two players worked. That was Rahul Tewatia, the best all-rounder in the tournament, and then Jofra Archer. I think they were standout performers. I think they really lifted their team. I was surprised that Rajasthan ended 8. I mean, the tournament ended in a kind of weird way. I don't think they played the worst cricket out of all the 8 teams, so that was a bit surprising. But I think those two worked for them. What didn't work was their foreign players for the longest time. I think Steve Smith had the worst tournament he's ever had in his life. So, it was just like their opening batters just didn't perform.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. I mean, I think just to add to that, I think their leg spin worked. I mean, obviously Rahul Tewatia was part of that, but Shreyas Gopal as well. There were times when both of them worked really well together, and you know,
No, I
see
think
Jofra
Shreyas
Archer
Gopal
was
has
an
quite an
absolute
average
standout.
season.
I thought he was okay. I thought he played quite well alongside Rahul Tewatia.
Yeah. Okay. Aryaman, Ishan, what worked? What didn't work?
I think so that Stokes, he showed up to the party, but just quite late. I mean, there was too much. They had to win a lot when he did, but so that was something. And Sanju Samson,
Did
he
he
was like
work
a
or did
big
he not work? Good. First, you decide.
both, both, because it was like he was really unpredictable. Like when the first half of the tournament, when he was playing well, Rajasthan were doing well, and then he just sort of and Rajasthan also went so, and he just didn't show up after that. So I think that was one big player, or one player we expected more things from, who just didn't show up towards the business end of the tournament.
Okay.
And another thing which I felt what was wrong with Rajasthan was that they tweaked with the batting lineup a lot. Uh, they tried playing Stokes. They tried opening with Stokes for a while. He did hit a century, but before that he wasn't really playing well. So if they could have just gone with Butler instead for in the beginning when they tried Stokes for 3-4 games, that could have helped a lot because I think Stokes is quite good when playing in the middle, and Butler's been opening for them for a long time. So I think that would have helped them.
I think I disagree slightly with what Aryaman said. I think the Stokes experiment actually worked for them, and Butler's a more explosive player, so he can come in down the middle and hit. So I think what worked for them is actually they got their lineup right eventually. What didn't work was by the time they got their lineup right, it was too late. Like
Yeah.
by the time everything started clicking and working, like first they tried so much. Jaiswal opened, then someone who then Uthappa opened, someone else opened, and then finally when they got stuck it, I think that also got to do with the fact that Stokes showed up late. I think if Stokes had showed up earlier, their season could have been a lot different, and they could have probably pushed because they were at the end of it only one win away from actually making it further, and they blew some pretty easy wins for themselves. One was against Delhi as well, in the middle of the tournament, which they should have won if they blew it. So yeah, I think that's what worked and what didn't work.
I think no. I think in general, what didn't work was the Indian talent. Bar Rahul Tewatia, nobody else really stood out.
Kartik Tyagi was decent.
Yeah, he was decent. I think him and Shreyas
Also,
Gopal were both kind of decent. But
What didn't work was their revolving door for that third seamer.
Yeah,
With
exactly.
Unatkat, Aaron, and Rajput, who was Kabir's short pick for. Oh, what a player! Yeah.
Good player, man.
Anyway, now we can move on to quick picks, guys. I don't want big explanations. Otherwise, we'll be here for 3 hours if we do this for 8 teams. So, We're gonna go first with the one for the future, like the surprise who you think stood out. We can it can either be one you think is going to become even better, or someone who was really surprised about. Then biggest disappointment and best player. We'll start with Aryaman. All three, bro. Oh, actually, no. Go with the one for the future first, or surprise.
Karthik Tyagi.
Okay, Ishan.
Rahul Tewatia, dude. That's
That was
that's the
surprise. Yeah,
most
fair enough.
surprising.
Biggest surprise. Yeah, Noor.
For the future, Tyagi.
No, it's either future or surprise. Like one player that
surprise,
shocked you.
Rahul Tewatia.
Okay,
Rahul
let's just make
Tewatia.
it surprise. One player that shocked you, or like you think has a bright future because of what he did. Tewatia.
I don't know if he has a bright future in terms of like his India career. I'm not
Okay,
gonna
let's
lie.
just do
But I
surprise,
think
guy.
he
Let's
had
just do
a
surprise.
I think he had a very surprising IPL, and that's Rahul Tewatia.
Okay.
I think the guy
Aryaman,
played
do you want
out.
to change your answer for surprise?
Yeah, it's Tewatia for me too.
Okay, fine.
In terms
Kabir?
of surprising.
Jaiswal surprised me how bad he was, but I still think he's gonna play well eventually.
Yeah, so Tewatia was, I mean, surprise Tewatia was mine as well. And if we're looking for the future, it's definitely Rahul Tewatia. It's a Karthik Tyagi. But yeah,
Or
okay,
Jaiswal.
let's move on. Biggest disappointment, Noor.
I'm gonna say Steve Smith.
Kabir?
Jaiswal.
Yeah, Aryaman?
Yeah, biggest disappointment. I think Jaiswal. We expected a lot of things from him.
Ishan?
Thappa.
Uthappa?
Yeah, fair enough, fair enough.
My,
He didn't do
my
anything.
yeah, my
Biggest
biggest
disappointment. You had expectations from Robin Uthappa.
Some expectations, you know.
Yeah,
like,
I
some
did as well.
expectations.
my biggest disappointment was probably Jaiswal, because Steve Smith still had two good innings in the beginning of the tournament, and he played a couple here and there, so you can't really.
Actually, can I change mine? My big disappointment is Ankit Rajput, because I said he was going to be an absolute star.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay, best player. This should be pretty easy on this team, but let's go. Kabir,
I mean, it's Jofra. Like, there's literally nobody else. He's probably the best player in the tournament.
Archer.
Ishan,
It's the same, of course.
Noor.
Jofra Archer.
Okay, Jofra Archer. Everyone's got Jofra Archer. Well done. See, we got through one team pretty quickly. Now we can move on to the next team, which according to me was the biggest disappointment of the tournament. And Ishan's already wagging his finger because he knows what's coming his way. But we've got the Chennai Super Kings, who finished in 7th.
Oh,
So,
my God.
Ishan, what worked and what didn't work, bro?
Nothing worked, really. What? I mean, okay, I start with the positives. Gaikwad came into his own for the last 2-3 games. That was good. I really hope they had persisted with him in the beginning. I think the scene would have been quite different. Faf played well, I think, through at least like in the first half of the tournament. Honestly, I'm a Dhoni fan, but I was really, really disappointed by him. Like, really, really disappointed by him. I don't know, like we talk about intent and whatnot, but that was just not there through the IPL. You know, every match I was like, acha, today's Dhoni's game, today he'll make us win. And every single match I was disappointed. And then I think that was the biggest letdown for me. And other than that, yeah, nothing worked. Like the pace department, we didn't have, like Chennai didn't have one pacer they could rely on at all. You know, they were like, I thought Ngidi would be a good pick, but like he got smashed. And I mean, I never really liked Thakur, and Chahar is good in the power play, not so much towards the latter end. So I mean, a lot of things didn't work as much as I hoped they would.
Fair enough. Aryaman, what worked, what didn't? Anything you want to add?
No, he's absolutely right. I don't think anything worked for CSK in this tournament. Especially, I still don't know who they're blaming for this bad tournament, because sometimes it feels like it's because of the veterans who aren't past their primes. But sometimes like you could see in Dhoni's comments, the youngsters aren't shooting sparks. So I don't know who to blame exactly for the bad tournament. Yeah, but
I mean,
nothing worked
Dhoni.
this season.
Dhoni is the person to blame for this tournament. What do you mean? It's quite simply him. What didn't work? I'm gonna add to that. I don't think the team worked at all. I mean, I'm surprised they even finished 6 and 8. To have won six games is an overachievement for them, in my opinion. Dhoni didn't work. Nothing worked. He was out of form. He's way past his prime, and anybody who says otherwise is delusional at this point. And yeah, I mean, it is disappointing because there's so many good players who played well in past IPLs, and you want to see them succeed and stuff like that. But it just shows that it gets to a point where having guys who are experienced obviously doesn't pay off when they don't have the same sort of abilities as they used to when they were younger.
Noor, anything you want to add for what did or didn't work?
Um, I agree with what you guys said. I think CSK played the worst cricket um, in this tournament. Was it completely surprising? No, I don't think their team was strong enough this year. I mean, Fleming said it best, right? He said the third year we're really going to be pushing it. And they really pushed it. They pushed it to like the absolute edge. I'm shocked that it was this close a tournament with CSK's team being this. But I do think there are a few things that you can take out of it from a CSK team. I think Duplessis' form is a great bonus. It just shows you that he has a lot of years left. I think Sam Curran is a revelation for them. Um, and so like Sam Curran, Gaikwad, they're good. And I also like, for me, I think Hazelwood played like incredible cricket in the England tour. So like I was shocked that he didn't get more chances. He played a good few games. I think they just need to go back this year. We'll see what's happening with the IPL. That's all a bit confusing right now. But like they need to go and be like, okay, I have these few players, Sam Curran, Duplessis, Hazelwood, in my opinion, Gaikwad. How can I like reimagine this team? And they've got to do that without people like Kedav Jadhav, without like Jaddu, of course. But they need to like change the whole vibe of the team, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
I
think
think one
Jadeja
of the
had
things
like a
about,
good
yeah, I
tournament.
was
I
just
think
going
he
to say that.
batted really well.
Yeah, thanks for taking my point, bro. I was going to say Jadeja as a finisher worked for them. I think he was really good, especially against like KKR and all. He won a couple of games. So Jadeja as a finisher worked. Not much else worked. I'm going to ask you guys, okay, after we do the rest of the three, I'm going to ask you guys a big question. I want to see what you guys say about this. But okay, we'll come to that after this. Okay, let's start with the surprise package of the tournament for them. Kabir?
Um, can I say both the surprise package and the best player I thought for them was Sam Curran. I didn't think he was going to play as well as he did, and then when he did play well, he was generally the best player on the field. I thought, all things considered, for Chennai.
Aryaman, best only surprise package ideally if they're different.
I think surprise for me, it was Gaikwad towards the end of the tournament because he didn't start off really well, lost his place in lineup, but then last 3 games he was just amazing batting.
Eshan, surprise package.
For me, it was actually both Sam Curran and Gaikwad. Gaikwad because of what Aryaman said. Sam Curran because in the beginning I said that CSK will either play Sam Curran or Bravo, but because Bravo was injured, Sam Curran was good enough for him to not be replaced by Bravo, which I think says a lot. So that's why I would pick both.
Okay, Noor.
I agree with you guys. Sam Curran is my surprise package and
Is he
my best
surprised
player.
though? He's pretty good. Okay, for me the surprise was Gaikwad, as already they've said. I thought he was pretty good. Surprise in a good way. I'm trying to look at this positively. That's the surprise. Surprise in a bad way. There are many. Anyway, let's come on to the biggest disappointment. I think you have the biggest choice of players for this, and I want to see who's gutsy enough, except Kabir, to make a call that we all know should be made here. But I don't think anyone's. I want to see who makes
I
it.
said it in the beginning.
Yeah.
No, I want to hear it out of everyone's mouth. Ishan, who was your biggest disappointment of the season?
I said it in the beginning. I said Dhoni and Kedar Jadhav.
Yeah, Kedar Jadhav as well, to be fair.
Uh,
Aryaman, who was the
He
biggest
cannot be
disappointment?
excused.
Yeah, I'll go with the same name, Dhoni and Kedar Jadhav.
Noor?
Same. I also think you can put in Murli Vijay there, but maybe.
That was it. I mean,
Man,
honestly, that's not surprising.
I had some really bad takes at the start of this tournament.
Basically, we've realized after this tournament, do not believe anything that Kabir says before during a tournament. He lost all the predictions. Even his predictions before the tournament were rubbish. Anyway, yeah, for me, the biggest disappointment was MS Dhoni, but also Shane Watson. I think he was quite terrible.
But he played well in a couple of games at least,
Okay, yeah, fair enough. I mean, if that's the standard, then yeah, he did.
For CSK, I think it is this season.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
I actually think that one of the biggest disappointments for CSK was the fact that they didn't play Imran Tahir, and that he's literally the best bowler they had. And I just don't understand him not playing the entire tournament.
That's because they were so hell-bent on playing the two foreign batsmen and the two all-rounders once Bravo
That's
was.
what I mean. It's just stupid as fuck. Like, he should be playing.
Anyway, yes. Okay, now to the more difficult thing. What was your best player of the season? There's not many options here. Aryaman?
There's, I think, one.
Sam Curran, no one else in the team.
Ishan?
Yeah, the same Sam Curran. There's really no one.
Kabir?
Yeah, I mean, like I said,
Oh yeah,
Sam
Kabir said it before.
is,
Noor.
Sam Curran. I would put Faf as well. I know he played
Yeah,
pretty
I
bad.
was gonna say either
That's
Faf,
true.
Sam, even Raidu wasn't like Raidu played a couple of match-winning knocks and he
yeah.
played pretty well.
Yeah.
I do, yeah.
I would
I
put
think
Jaddu then.
No, but
Jaddu.
Jaddu's
Jaddu was good.
bowling was terrible in the first half. He
That's true.
bowled
That
really
is true.
badly.
Yeah, my left
Anyway,
arm was
now here's the question I have for all of you. I want an answer in yes or no.
Your left arm is to the best.
There is a possibility that next year's auction is going to be a massive auction where you can retain a maximum of 3 players and 2 right to matches. Now here's the question: do you retain MS Dhoni? I want a yes or no answer. Aryaman,
Yes, I think they should. They will.
Ishan, Noor.
I don't. I think Dhoni should take a great, like, calm retirement. Do I think they should in terms of recreating a team? No. Do I think they will? 100%.
Kabir.
If he's available, they will do it. I don't think they should. I think they will.
I mean, logically, no, never in a million years. Take anybody else, literally. No, obviously not. He's way past his prime. Like, he's not going to give you anything in his batting. His wicket keeping is okay still, to be fair. And I don't know, man. Like, what are you going to do with them? Retaining spot or whatever it is. You could do so much better with retaining some of your younger players who
I
could
heard
like form
that
the
they're apparently
base of your team going forward.
they're looking to maybe hand over the captaincy to Faf next year. So there's a year of transition away from Dhoni and everything. But let's see. I feel like if they're going to keep him, they have to retain him. If they right to match him, firstly it'll
Yeah,
hurt the sentiments of Dhoni for letting him go in the auction. It'll hurt the sentiments of their fans for letting him go back into the auction. There'll be too much stuff going on. So yeah, let's see. Let's see what Chennai do. Anyway, that's second.
I think it'll be similar like to the.
bro, there'll be a
I think it'll be-
riot.
Yeah.
I think it'll be similar to. I think it'll be similar to like India's transition phase when like Kohli was handed over the captaincy for a year. Like they'll nurture the team. Like Dhoni will help in nurturing the team, so to
But
say,
then the thing is, bro, if it becomes
for
a big
like
auction,
a year or so. And
that
then
means you're going to spend a spot to get him back from a retention perspective. Which does he merit it? So let's see.
Yeah, but dude, how many players should they actually retain in that squad?
Sam Curran,
Like,
Faf du
it's not
Plessis.
like
fair
they have.
point.
Yeah, fine, 2.
That's two
Jadeja.
foreigners though. That's two foreigners though.
Jadeja and Ruturaj Gaikwad.
I would
Guy
actually
won't
take
take an
Raidu.
RPM. Sorry.
I would actually take
think
Raidu
Raidu-
over Gaikwad.
Gaikwad will be a right to match.
Yeah,
They might not retain Sam Curran, guys.
I think they have to. I think he's the base of the team.
should.
Yeah,
They
They
might
they
build
should
team
build a
around
team
him.
around him.
They might not. Let's see. Anyway, that's 2 teams done. Moving on to the next team. Kings 11 Punjab.
Guys,
I'll
good
start
luck.
this
I don't
one.
know what to
I'll start this one. What worked and what didn't work? What worked, arguably, was their opening partnership. Depending on how much
What do you mean, arguably? Like,
depending
most
on how much
definitely.
importance you give to strike rates, I'd say their opening partnership worked. Then what else worked? Shami worked better than we expected him to, probably. Shami worked. Arshdeep worked. Ravi Bishnoi worked in terms of what they brought to the team. What didn't work for me, team selection in the first half of the tournament. And
No, you're saying you're naming players. What I think that, like, actually, go on, but what I think is that each of the players worked, but they just worked at different times of the tournament. And
I don't
never
agree everyone
worked
worked.
at the
They
same
got
time
one
together.
big one in the middle. And
Okay,
but
obviously, yeah. Okay, 10 players out of 11 worked at some point in time in the tournament.
Okay, I think what worked for them was their opening partnership and their Indian bowling. Let's put it that way. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Fair enough.
And what didn't work was Maxwell big time. That just didn't work. And also the team selection in the first half was too hurried, too choppy chilling, and they took too much time to get Gale in. They should have got him in much sooner. Kabir, stop
He
tossing
was
that
injured.
ball.
to be fair.
He wasn't fit though, was he?
Yeah. Okay, Ishan, what worked, what didn't work?
No, I think I think the opening partnership worked. I think the biggest disappointment for them was they just weren't able to close out games. Like they lost, I think, 2 or 3 games that they should have won. I think they played
First one
like,
against Delhi.
at least in the first half. I mean, I'm happy that they lost, but still, but like through the first half of the tournament, I think they're the team that played the best cricket, like in terms of like how they approach games and everything with the intent. I think they did. I think they were really good and they were really strong through the first half. I'm sorry, like through the first bit, and they were still last on the table. So I think that's where it hurt them the most, is closing out games.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
I completely agree with that.
They got Tewatiad in one game.
Yeah, but
And
I think yeah.
Noor,
I
anything
think
else
that
you want to add? Or Kabir, anything else you want to add?
yeah, I think the biggest disappointment was that short run against Delhi. I think that cost them a spot in the playoffs.
It did actually at the end of it, and it probably
Yeah.
got Delhi through to the playoffs.
Yep.
But yeah, Noor,
Can I
what worked? What didn't work?
I think okay, so obviously the opening partnership, KL Rahul, guys, most of us predicted it, but Orange Cap winner, he was phenomenal. He's the best T20 batsman in the world, in my opinion. He's so good. There like maybe a few people who are better than him, but like he's incredible.
I think there's definitely an argument for that he
Yeah.
might be.
There is when he plays with an open mind, not the way he played this season.
Oh, he made like 600 runs.
He
Like,
scored at a strike rate of 120.
because he had nobody else behind him.
That's
Like,
why I agree.
look at the context of his team. Dude, he used to make, when he got out in 140, they would still lose games chasing 170.
Yeah.
That happened
Like,
once, but at that time they didn't have Gale in the team. Once they got Gale, Puran, and all in, he had a good enough batting order.
Yeah, that's the thing though, right? With like Puran and Gale, they had a good, they were great, but like it felt like they were gonna collapse every time KL Rahul.
But I
got
think
out.
KL also this time was his first year in captaincy, so I'll give him a pass. Probably next year once he's captain before and he's like when he's more open, then maybe. But yeah,
I don't think like his captaincy. Maybe he felt the extra burden of captaincy. I'm not even denying that. For me, it was just like the middle order of of Punjab just took way too long. Like it took way too long, and it was just too late by the fact. And when they were making a comeback, just right, like then Chennai suddenly became good. But like literally, like they just couldn't get it together for enough games, and that was really it. They collapsed. They became Delhi, what Delhi was last season. They started choking.
yeah, I think they also got Gale in too because once they got Gale in, the middle order looked different because Gale just took down the spinners. So yeah,
I thought he was injured.
He was
I
injured
thought
at the
Gale was
end, but he
injured.
didn't start in the beginning because of a selection call.
Okay.
Dude, if Gale was unfit, I see why they didn't play him.
No, he became
Like-
injured in the middle when he got food poisoning, but he was started fine. Aryaman, what worked and what didn't work?
I think what hurt them was that they spent a total of 19 crores on Cottrell and Maxwell, and none of them performed well. I mean, Cottrell was dropped after a few games, and Maxwell was just irrelevant in the entire side. That really hurt them in the tournament. Like Ishan said, they failed to close out games. In the middle order, in middle order failed to arrive. The beginning, what 8 matches, if I'm not wrong, 7-8 matches, and that's too late in a tournament like this.
Yeah, Aryaman knows a bit about buying assets that don't deliver what you want them to. But yeah, Noor, what did you want to add?
Wait, didn't they have Eshan Parel on their team?
Yeah, I don't know why they didn't play him, man.
That was one of the things I just didn't understand.
But I mean, to be fair, Arshdeep was brilliant.
No, he
He
did
was
well.
very
I
good.
still think like the games they were changing, if they were willing to drop Maxwell and just change it around a little bit, they could, like Ishan Parel would have been a great addition to that team.
Yeah, maybe.
Like they
Yeah.
maybe they didn't ever need, like Chris Jordan's great, don't get me wrong, but he wasn't performing for quite a few games.
Yeah.
So
maybe.
like I think they like just backed the wrong players for too long. It's kind
But
of
then if
what
they had dropped them, then the people have been like, why are you dropping players so quickly? This is the
Well,
problem.
would you have dropped Maxwell or not?
I would have, but
I-
after 6 or 7 games.
Yeah. Same. I would give him 6 games. If he doesn't perform in those 6 games, so yeah.
yeah. I would have
But
I
the
would have
problem
dropped him
was for
at the
them after 7 games, they had so many people not performing that they had to back a few. They couldn't change their whole team. It only changed after that. And then once they started winning, then you don't change a winning combination. So
What was Maxwell's highest score this tournament?
30 something in the chase against Delhi, I think.
Right?
He made that much.
And
Yeah, they won 1 game.
That's a surprise.
okay. Then what else? Like what were his other scores?
But Maxwell at the end of it was bowling quite well. Huh? He was in the team for his bowling.
Yeah,
He
yeah,
went for
yeah.
3 or 4 overs.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay, let's move on to the player calls. Surprise, like one surprise of the tournament, the biggest surprise of the tournament. Noor?
Ravi Bhatt Bisnoy outperformed. Like he was so good. Like he's always a great spinner. I thought he lacked a little bit of variation at the start. Like before, when I saw him in the under 19s, I think he was surprisingly good.
Aryaman,
I'm Max. Sorry, go on.
It's Bishnoi and Arshdeep for me because I expect when Arshdeep came into the side, I expected him to get smacked all around the stadium, but he bowled really well. He bowled really well.
Kabir.
Max was surprisingly bad.
Yeah, we were talking about surprisingly good, bro. We have the biggest disappointment of surprisingly bad.
Okay, fine. Surprisingly good. Um, I would say it was Chris Gale. Didn't expect him to be as good as he was.
Ishan.
I mean, obviously, you have Ravi Bishnoi and Arshdeep Singh, but I also thought Mayank Agarwal, like, he held his own with KL Rahul, opening at least through a major part of the tournament.
Manago was bloody good. I think he's so underrated.
For me,
I agree.
Exactly.
He was one of the best batsmen in India. I don't
I
think
Yeah,
think
his
literally.
Bishnoi and Ashley for sure, but also I think Murugan Ashwin. He bowled really well. He took a lot of wickets and he was brilliant for them. And I think he went slightly under the radar because of Bishnoi, but I think he was really good for them as well. Anyway, biggest disappointment. I don't think we need to ask. Does everyone agree on the same answer over here?
Yeah.
There's only one
Next
answer.
team.
Oh, actually, sorry. Can I just add? Nicholas Puran, I thought was sick.
Yeah, he was
Yeah,
He
but he
was
was too.
awesome.
He looked really good, but he didn't really have that many innings or substance, except for maybe a couple.
Yeah, that's Nicholas Puran though. I've never seen anybody hit the ball that clean in my life.
Like when he hit that 70 against Sunrisers, he looked like $1,000,000, but he didn't win them enough games, I don't think, on his own.
Yeah, but I mean, I would literally just watch him to hit. Like if he had 2 6s
I
and got
agree,
out,
but
I'd be
I
happy
think
with
as a
that.
foreign player, you have to win 2 games for your team a season. Two, maybe three. He won one,
So,
I can think of.
a big call, but I mean, I just thought that I haven't seen anybody hit the ball that
Bro,
clean and that
look at the
far
top
in so
foreign
long.
players in the tournament. They all won at least 2 games for their team. If they Quinton
Yeah,
de
yeah.
Kock won a couple, Bolt won a couple with his bowling, Rabada won a couple, Stoinis
I'd
won.
argue that I'd argue he won 2 games. I think
He
that
won
50
one
against
against Delhi.
Delhi,
Yeah, that's the only
and
one he
then
won.
77.
But that they lost that game against Hyderabad where he got
Oh
77.
yeah, right.
Anyway, yeah, so we've got the biggest disappointment quite obvious for everyone, unless someone wants to go for like Sheldon Cottrell or something, then that's a shout. But otherwise, best player, Ishan,
I mean, KL Rahul, right?
Aryaman,
I would say KL Rahul.
KL Rahul for me too. Yeah.
Kabir,
Yeah, definitely, but I think Mohammad Shami.
Noor.
I think that bowling was based around him.
I was going to say Mohammad Shami. I think Mohammad Shami is actually more important to this team, especially when Chris Gale came in than even KL Rahul.
I think their best player was Chris Gayle because they were doing quite average before that. When he came in, he completely turned the team around. He scored a bucket load of runs and he won them. He got a complete change in mentality. KL was good, but he cost them a
Guys,
couple
we're
of
selling him
games.
short. We're selling him
I
short.
love KL Rahul.
with a
He's
lot of
brilliant,
runs.
and I've had arguments with him about people. But bro, you have to look at it someplace. When they won 2-1, when they scored 220 or whatever and lost against Rajasthan, KL scored 69 of 50 balls. When the rest of the team has scored 11 and over. Same in another game where he scored. Like I agree, he was brilliant, but I think his strike rate kind of makes him, in my eyes, slightly less. I think Gale was very important because he changed the whole morale of the team. Anyway, moving on to Kolkata Knight Riders. What a team. They did absolutely everything weird. What worked, what didn't work. Okay, Aryaman, I'll let you start on this one.
I think what didn't work was the West Indian all-rounders, who people expect to be the best performer in the league year in year out. Russell and Ryan, both I think both of them disappointed me, and that hurt the team a lot. It hurt the team dynamics because and plus Narayan almost getting suspended for action again wasn't really helpful to the team again. Yeah, so that hurt them a lot.
What do you know? What worked, Aryaman? Anything that worked for you?
What worked for them, I think Gill was good while opening, and they had a few upcomers like Varun Chakravarti who performed really well for the team. So I think it's
Gill was
something
very
positive to
average,
look
bro.
at.
Gill's strike
Something
rate
positive.
was quite average.
It's something positive to look at
Yeah.
coming
Yeah.
going
Ishan,
into the future.
what worked, what didn't
What
work?
I think DK didn't work big time. Like his batting, not his captaincy. Um, so that
Yeah,
I think
better
that like
record than Owen Morgan, to be fair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
His
I think by
captaincy
that
went off.
I genuinely, but I still think like Owen Morgan came in too late. I think
Yeah.
I think he would have been a better choice, earlier into the tournament. And I think what did work was um, they had a couple of upcoming pacers as well.
Nagarkoti.
Mavi and Nagarkoti, they were quite they're fine, I would say. And so did Owen Morgan, not necessarily his captaincy, but he played well. Like he genuinely played well through the tournament, and so I think that those are the plus points for KKR.
Yeah, Noor, what worked, what didn't work?
Um, I think KKR was one of the biggest disappointments this tournament. I've said it before. They're frauds. They're disappointing. They're generally a disrespectful team. Okay,
Yeah,
they're all rounders
100%.
that work. Like, wait, when we did the IPL thing, the one thing we said, if KKR is going to win this, it's because of their all-rounders. The all-rounders didn't work. There's a bit of an issue there, right? So that was one of the things that just did not work. I think their opening partnership didn't work. Rana was okay at points of the tournament, but not he wasn't consistent enough for me. The same thing with Gill. I don't think Gill had the best tournament. He played one or two good knocks, but that's really it. I think the only thing that if I was KKR and I would look forward to is Morgan, because he was fantastic. He was my IPL fantasy permanent, one of the permanent players there. He was fantastic, and then Varun Chakraborty was brilliant. He was absolutely brilliant.
Kabir, what worked, what didn't?
What worked? Honestly, okay, I'll start off with what didn't work. What didn't work was their batting order. They couldn't figure it out.
Wait, there was a batting order?
No, the fact that they couldn't figure it out.
That's what I was like. When was
Yeah,
there ever an order?
exactly.
I thought it was like chill.
Yeah, exactly. It felt like they're picking out of the hat. So that definitely didn't work. And what did work was Varun Chakravarti. I mean, that's pretty much it. There were times when other parts of the team worked, but I think Varun Chakravarti was that one consistent performer throughout the tournament.
Yeah.
Wait, guys, we're not talking about one thing that didn't work as well. Is that Cummings, biggest waste
He
of money.
worked.
He
I
He
don't
worked.
bowled pretty well. His economy
I
rate
think
was
Not in the
brilliant.
first game.
Yeah, and in the power play overs, he was amazing while
He
bowling.
took a few less wickets, yes, but he picked up in the end also. I think what worked for me with them was Varun Chakravarti, and I think the Owen Morgan, when he decided to bat up, the order worked. Like he had that one innings against who is it against? Rajasthan, where he batted for a while and he got like 60, 70 or something. And even another game, he came in with Gill and counter-attacked when they were. So if Morgan had given more time, it would have worked. Therefore, what didn't work was the way they structured their batting order was absolutely terrible. What didn't
I
work
mean,
was their West Indian
yeah,
all-round.
in one match they sent Rahul Tripathi out 5 down or 4 down,
Yeah, against Delhi at 6, he came. I was like, what is going on?
which is
Yeah.
he's an opener. It's
Yeah,
just so
and
stupid.
I'm disappointed they didn't give Siddesh Lad a go. I thought they would have given him a go at some point in the tournament. But
I still one of the things with their batting order, I don't want Shubman Gill to open for them.
he can't bat at 3. He's too slow. He'll slow the whole game down. He has
I
to
know,
open.
but I
He'd
don't
play like
think
Rahane.
Yeah, he
opener.
has to open. In T20, he
I,
has to open.
I just don't think he's good enough an opener. I feel like when the ball's moving a lot, he really
No,
struggles.
his technique is pretty good, but
Yeah, but he struggled. This dude, he
He
really
struggles with the ball around fifth stump, same as Prithvi Shaw.
Yeah.
They just hang their bat out there.
best of luck for India and England in a couple of years. Let's see who's going to go there.
Bro,
But
India and Australia, Prithvi Shaw facing Stark.
I don't think Shaw's going to play. It's going to be Mayank and Rohit.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, let's move on to these are the fun ones for this team because you can literally pick anyone. Surprise package of the tournament.
Varun Chakrabarti.
Kabir,
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's anybody else for Chakravarti.
Aryaman,
Yeah, Varun Chakravarti.
Eshan.
Yeah, Varun Chakravarti, and I think even Mavi and Nagarkoti, but I think Varun Chakravarti outshone them by quite a bit.
I think for me, it was also Varun Chakravarti. And sometimes Nitish Rana. But Nitish Rana had this insane thing where he went 0-80, 0-80, 0. And not any zero. It was first ball, duck 0. It wasn't even like he batted 2 balls. It was like first ball out.
But I remember Nitish Rana had one season for MI where he scored like 5 consecutive 50s or something.
But Nitish Rana is always like this. He starts really well and then he becomes average in the second half. It's like Sanju a little bit. But yeah, anyway, biggest disappointment. Oh, there are a lot of options here. Noor?
Um, Russell got injured, so I'm not gonna say him, but I'm gonna also say Kuldeep Yadav.
Fair enough. Aryaman?
Can I say, instead of player, can I say the middle order was the biggest disappointment? Because
Yeah.
you expect Dinesh, Karthik, Morgan, and Russell, middle order of three big hitters,
Yeah,
to
we thought that was going
at
to take
least
them to the
get
top four.
100 runs together, but they could only match about 40, 50 runs together. That also only Morgan was scoring, no one else.
Yeah.
So I
Ishan,
think
To be
that's the biggest disappointment.
disappointment.
to be fair, they didn't even have like even their openers. They didn't. They were changing like every second
So what,
game.
the whole
So
11 was a disappointment or what for you guys?
I'm just saying like it's not necessarily the middle order, like their own batting order,
Ishan,
like
who's your
Kabir said
biggest
earlier.
disappointment, bro?
If I had to choose one, I would say Dinesh Karthik.
Kabir, biggest disappointment.
Yeah, I would have to go with Dinesh Karthik as well. I just think that the batting order was just shambles or lack of.
For me, the biggest disappointment was who was it? Yeah, probably. Actually, I didn't think of Kuldeep, but yeah, Dinesh Karthik. I think they didn't really give Kuldeep much of a go in terms of giving him a chance to play enough. I think they should have given him more of a chance. But yeah. Anyway,
Actually, wait. Can we just acknowledge that Russell and Narayan were awful?
But
They
the thing
were
with the Ryan,
really,
he
really
still won
bad.
them a couple of games.
Yeah,
I think
He
Narayan's
won them the
bowling
game
really
against
did.
Delhi with the bat.
yeah,
Won them one
that's
game
true.
against Chennai with the ball,
Right,
where
but
he
but he
stifled the
wasn't
batter.
who he was.
And even
He
against
wasn't who he
Punjab with
was.
the ball.
I
And
agree.
Punjab as well.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and Punjab. So he won 3 games, which is quite a lot, even though he was having a
yeah, but
terrible
both
season.
of them weren't like we usually expect them to be.
Yeah, obviously Russell was massively disappointing. But that, actually for me, the biggest disappointment was probably Russell. After last season, everyone expected him to light it up, and he was just awful.
Yeah,
And I think the thing with Russell is he doesn't think about who he's playing. Like every team brought back Rabada, Bumrah, etc. to like get him out. You have to play out one over of them. But the guy had too big an ego. He tried to smash them out of the park and he'd get out and it just like destroy everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, best player. I want to see what you guys say here. I mean, I don't know who is their best player. Aryaman.
I really want to say Pat Cummins because he gave them an extra batting option, which was surprising to me because he is a pretty decent Test batsman, but smashing 50 runs in the IPL is completely different for me. And I think he was really good with the ball in the power play overs. He didn't pick up many wickets, but he really improved their bowling attack, in my opinion. I would
Ishan.
say Pat Cummins.
I would say Owen Morgan. I mean, I actually just opened his stats right now. He made 418 runs at an average of 41 at a
Did
strike rate of
he?
138. At
That's
a
a lot
strike
of
rate of
runs. I didn't think he
138,
made that
which
many.
is great. Exactly. That's why. And yeah, so hands down.
Kabir.
with only 150, that's pretty crazy.
Kabir.
I think Varun Chakravarti was their best player. Um, yeah, quite
Noor.
simply.
Chakravarti. But just to like Arman's point, I don't think Pat Cummins had like a great season, to be honest. That's just like
It
my
wasn't
opinion.
bad. He took wickets. I mean, I can get why people buy. I mean, there weren't many options in this team. It's between like 3 people. So
Yeah.
anyway, yeah, for me, I'd also probably go with Varun Chakravarti. I think he had the most impact. He took 18 wickets, and given that he managed to keep Kuldeep out of the side, and Narayan was not performing to his best, so he basically was carrying the bowling lineup in the middle overs. So I think for me, he's probably the best in the for them this year. Okay, that finishes the 4 teams that finished outside the top four. Now let's move on to the playoff teams, starting with Aryaman's favorite, Royal Challengers Bangalore. Aryaman, what worked and what did not work?
I think what worked for us was the spin bowling. I mean, it was pretty amazing. Our spin bowling was amazing. Washington Sundar picking up wickets and his economy was just brilliant. Chahal he's always a reliable player, and he was our best performance this season. Chahal, and even the game against Sunrisers, we played 4 spinners and all 4 of them bowled really well. Zampa, Chahal, Washington Sundar. So that worked really well for us. What didn't work was, surprisingly, it was our batting, which has been our strong point for many years. But this season, our batting was really disappointing,
Middle
especially
overs batting.
especially if you have players like Aaron Finch, Virat Kohli, and ABD Villiers playing for you together. You expect RCB to at least score to near 200 runs in every game they bat, but they could manage just above 180 runs just one time in the entire tournament, if I'm not wrong. The 150, 160, you don't expect that from a team which has 3 top batsmen in the lineup.
Yeah, Ishan, what worked, what didn't?
I mean, Aryaman said it. I think their batting was atrocious. They
Rich
they
coming from a
were.
Chennai fan, but okay.
I mean, honestly, to be fair, Chennai was shit as well. So uh, it's okay. I think that batting was what let Bangalore down this year, which is, as Aryaman said, a big surprise because it's always been the other way around for Bangalore. Maybe it was them not playing in Chinnaswamy. Who knows?
Noor, what worked, what didn't?
Um, so I think what worked was I think Particle was like great. I think we all expected him. Like we all thought he'd be like a good opening addition to this team. So I think he was fine. I think he started playing a bit slowly by the end of the tournament. But I think the biggest issue was them back their runs per over rate at like from 7 to 13. They were like around 7. They made the easiest pitches look like they were playing in like Chapok. Like it was so hard, it was so slow. I mean, like literally, and when you have Virat Kohli there, Aaron Finch, AB de Villiers, it just shouldn't look like that. To be fair, AB did his best. He always came in, had like a really aggressive take on the game, post like 10 balls. But I think just what really just destroyed the entire team was how they batted between 7 to 13.
Yeah, Kabir.
What worked was their bowling, and what didn't work was their batting.
Okay, fair enough. For me, I think what worked was their spin bowling, as he said, and I think Padikkal worked initially. I don't know if he worked towards the end because it wasn't really helping the team. Once he played more than 40, 30 balls, it started detrimentally impacting the team because he started slowing down significantly. Kind of like what Parthiv Patel used to be back in the day. So yeah, and then what didn't work, actually, what also worked was Chris Morris for me. When he came in, he brought so much balance to the team. He made it look much better and stronger, and he had a pretty good season in the beginning. And
His bowling, though, not his batting.
he even had this one game, bro, where he scored, I think, 25 or
He did.
7 or something.
Yeah, against Punjab,
They
he had three
lost the game,
sixes.
but he helped
Yeah,
get a big score.
he got
What
them over the
didn't
line.
work was there. I think even Navdeep Saini for me didn't have a very, very good tournament. So I think that let them down. There wasn't really much backup. I think that fast bowling was not brilliant, except for Morris and sometimes Mohammad Siraj. But also what didn't work was the batting, as you guys have said. Because I also think RCB really, like, next year, I'm assuming they're going to retain AB and Virat for sure. They need to
And
make
Chahal.
sure whoever the third is, Chahal, yeah, probably, and then they'll RTM. I don't know, Morris maybe.
Saini.
Morris and Saini, Morris and Padikkal maybe. But
So
they have the options, but I think they really need to invest in a finisher batsman, like an overseas
Like,
finisher. Because I think
no, I
that really, one second,
if I can,
that really detrimentally impacted them because AB and Virat psychologically played like they had to play out 20 overs every game, so they were not free. The same thing happened with Warner. When Warner was batting, he knew his middle order was weak, so he started batting slowly. Then when he opened himself up and he started expressing himself, the team completely changed because he knew he had Holder and Williamson behind him. So RCB needs someone who can handle the mid order and give them a finishing kick
I think
so that AB and
the
Virat can play freely.
I think one waste of a slot was Shivam Dubey. Sorry to interrupt.
No,
I
that's
don't know what he was doing. Like
No,
Shivam
that
Dubey, I did not understand his inclusion to a great extent. I think they could have
and,
given other players a chance.
and one more thing which which I observed was the only reason that we got an Aaron Finch was so that he can take off the pressure from Virat Kohli and AB de Villiers, but instead he gave them more pressure because of how shit he was in that tournament. So I think that
Yeah,
really hurt us.
Finch and Maxwell are the two things I don't understand in the IPL. They just don't work. Yeah, Noor say.
I think what they need is a good Indian finisher because I think they should play two overseas batsmen up the order with AB also, and then they should play one all rounder and one bowler. I think what they need is a good Indian number five.
But that's a
They
problem.
need like
There are not many available. They're all
Yeah,
taken.
that's the whole thing. There's
So
just
you
not that
take, and
many.
it's easier to find an Indian opener. So you can have two
but
Indian
if there's
openers
a
and then you
big
play a
yeah, but
Indian overseas finisher.
if there's a big auction coming up, they should really look for
Still,
a number.
okay, Noor,
I
you name me 5 brilliant Indian finishers.
What do you think they'll get Rahul Tewatia or what?
No, 1 second. Noor, name me the
He's
best
not
5
good
Indian
enough.
finishers.
Hardik Pandya.
He's not going to go into the
Uh,
auction.
I know. I mean, it's not about that. I'm just saying, like, if they can find one, I'm not saying it's going to be easy to find it, but I think
I
that's
think
what
it's
that team
yeah, but I
good
think
at.
it's easier for them to get a big player, right? Like a big
If,
foreign finisher.
if it does happen, then it's gonna be a guy they find like from the back of beyond,
Yeah, like
like
Abdul
Abdul
Samad.
Samad.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, it's gonna be someone who nobody knows.
But I'm also thinking about the track record this team has with like foreign players. For example, Marcus Stoinis, right? If they had invested in him, they could have been that. He could have been that position for him. He could have been literally what they needed. The little extra overs of bowling, and then the real just Hulk like batting power at the end. Like I get what you mean. Like it's definitely easier to find a foreign finisher, but if there is a massive reshuffling of teams that's going to happen next year, they should really proactively spend money on finding that perfect number five Indian batsman.
This is why I'm saying Delhi should do whatever they do. Cannot let Rishabh Pant go back into the auction. He needs to stay in that team. And
They won't. Delhi
He's
will
going to
not
hurt
let
too
Rishabh
much
back.
money if he goes into that auction.
They'll
Anyway,
retain Rishabh Pant over Shikhar Dhawan.
100%. I think Delhi's three are pretty set in stone. Iyer, Pant, and Rabada. But let's move on to the calls. Okay. Let's start with Ishan. Who was your surprise package for them?
Well, I forgot what team we were talking about. I zoned out.
RCB.
Okay, yeah, surprise package. I mean, for me, it was one. It was Devda Padikkal. Because I personally had not heard of him before.
Noor?
So for me, it was like a big surprise.
Um, I don't want to say surprise, but I think I'll say for surprise, I'll say Padikkal.
Kabir?
Same for me. I think Barikal. I think we all expected him to be good. We didn't expect him to be this good. He's really good.
Aryaman?
I think it's Particle, and it might sound controversial, but I think Siraj in the partly overs in some games was a big surprise. I mean,
One game.
against
Yeah,
Kolkata,
man. He took my call.
that
That one
was
game.
I
That
don't
one
know what I
game.
was seeing on the TV. Against Kolkata, I don't know what happened. I just saw greatness in that game. I'm not kidding. I don't know what happened. to
Ayman
Siraj
saw
that
God.
game.
It looked like Dale Steyn
Yeah, I saw God.
reincarnated in that game. But for me, I think the surprise was Siraj, but also Sundar. Because usually Kohli has not trusted Sundar. And the fact that he trusted him so much more this IPL and he gave him the tough overs, he batted also not badly, like he batted decently a couple of times. So I think Sundar was a big surprise, and Siraj when he decided to turn it on. But then there were moments that Siraj went back to Siraj of old. But I mean, every player has that. So yeah. Okay, biggest disappointment. This is a tough one for this team actually. Let's
Can I
start.
start this one?
Yeah, start Noor.
Listen, I don't even think he played the worst IPL just because this player was so hyped on our podcast. I'm going to say Udana. Everyone was like, Udana's incredible. Kabir and Noor don't know what they were talking about. Udana this, Udana that. He's a great finisher. He's a great death bowler. Dude, what the hell did he do this tournament?
Kabir, biggest disappointment.
Udana. And it's not even the guy's fault. It's literally everyone who is on this podcast's
So
fault.
Rohan
Except
Aryaman, basically, you take the blame for
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, especially Rohan. Where's Rohan right now? He needs to
He's
stand
doing
up for
interview
his
training. He's doing interview training. Interview to make sure he doesn't make any radical calls like Isru Udana in the next interview. Yeah.
But
Kabir,
on a serious note, it was Iron Finch.
fair enough. Kabir,
Virat Kohli. I just thought he would play better than he did.
big.
I think he would have captained better than he did. I don't think he captained well this
He
year.
He's
captained
been off
better
of-
this year than he has a lot of seasons. I thought he was very good this year.
I don't think he's the best limited over
That
captain.
debate is for another day. Aryaman,
A certain
Finch.
Mr. R. Shastri might come after us.
Yeah.
who was your disappointment, bro?
Finch. He sucked.
Ishan.
Same, definitely Finch.
Yeah, mine was Udana, honestly, because of what everyone said about him. I was just like, Udana, I thought something good will come out of it. He got so many chances. At least Finch played like a couple of 40-50s. He gave good opening partnerships in the beginning. But yeah, Udana just didn't do anything. He just did not show up at all. And Steyn. Steyn was a big disappointment. He was quite terrible. But yeah.
I think Steyn getting game time was the biggest surprise in my opinion.
But yeah, let's go to this. Actually, this is not that much. There's only one player who actually stood up. But best player, Ishan.
I think there's one like Chahal, hands down.
Okay, yeah, then there are two. Okay, so Chahal for you. Noor?
I have to. I won't say.
No, you're allowed to
Chahal.
choose one, Noor. One.
No, I'm saying Chahal and Sundar.
Noor.
Why do you always get to make the rules?
Chahal and Sundar. Okay.
Yeah.
Fine. Kabir?
David Villiers the best.
Yeah,
player.
screw you, Kabir! I thought I was going to do this wild pick, everyone has picked him, and then I'll pick him. Okay,
No,
Aryaman.
man, he's easily the best. Player.
Chahal.
Yeah, it's AB for me as well. I mean, bro, he did some pretty genius things. There was this one innings against Kolkata, he just wrecked the bowling lineup alone and won them the game.
Yeah.
And even against Rajasthan.
Unatkat. But I mean, that's I mean, what are you expecting? So,
He needs to come out of retirement and play the 2021 World Cup in India.
He will. He will.
oh,
For sure.
I should have said this. Biggest disappointment is also Unatkat for Rajasthan because
He's always a disappointment.
What do you
everyone-
mean? What do you mean disappointment? As if there's any expectation.
Yeah,
But
I don't know why he always gets
all of you
picked.
came on the podcast in the beginning. Even Josh had Unatkat in his first 11, and I said, "Why would you play Unatkat? He's well past it. I don't want to play him."
I swear I didn't have an Unatkat, and I swear I
I
had
will
Rajput
open that
instead.
podcast and show it to you. You didn't have Tyagi in your 11. You had Unatkat and Rajput.
I swear I had Tyagi and Rajput.
No, you didn't have Tyagi.
know.
You had Unatkat. I was the only one who had Tyagi in that team. Anyway, Noor. Wait, no, we're done with this team, right? Yeah. Now we can move on to the next team, which was Sunrisers Hyderabad. Very weird team to analyze, man. They had some weird season. But yeah, I'll start with this one.
True.
What worked and what didn't work. What worked for them was their bowling. Even though Bhuvneshwar left, their bowling still worked. Like it stood up to be counted, I think, at the right times. And what else worked? Warner when he decided to free up, and Saha. Yeah, their opening partnership worked quite a bit, actually, quite a lot of the time.
Uh-huh.
Didn't work was
missing, man.
what didn't was that middle order, and therefore their team balance until they got it right towards the end of the tournament, which kind of smoothed it out a bit. But otherwise, I think they put themselves in a big spot of bother. Yeah, Kabir.
Again, yeah, I think that I feel like things worked at times and things didn't work at times. It was like I think the batting worked. I think that top order worked. And I think the middle order didn't work. I think that's what it was. I think the top order worked, the middle order just couldn't stand up.
I think Kane Williamson did well though. He's
Yeah, I
technically
mean, yeah. I think this is more targeted than Nish Pandey. I think he didn't play well. And I think that 5 and 6 as well didn't work at all. 3, 5, and 6 didn't work.
Fair enough. So that's not true, actually. Holder worked when he came in, but
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about like right at the end or whatever.
and Samad
but
looked good. But
yeah, generally in the tournament.
Aryaman, what worked, what didn't work?
I think what worked for them was the March got injured, because I don't think if Holder wasn't playing, they
Are
wouldn't
you
have
saying
made
an
the playoffs.
injury worked for them?
It
It's a
did
good
actually.
take,
I
to be
mean,
fair.
it did. I mean, it was a positive thing for them. Like, I don't want to say this sounds mean, but it's good. It was better for them than March got injured and they got Holder instead. Because without Holder, they were not making the playoffs.
What didn't
It
work?
just changed. What didn't work, in my opinion, was so like the middle order didn't work in terms of players like Priyam Garg, and Priyam Garg had one good innings the entire tournament against Chennai, and Manish Pandey was very inconsistent. So that
Where isn't Priyanka? Wasn't Priyanka in Rajasthan?
No.
that's Ryan Parag. I get confused too.
Yeah, both. I get
same.
confused
They're
by
all
those
the
two as
same.
well.
They're all
Yeah.
the same. They're all the
Priyam
same.
Gard, Abdul Samad, Abhishek Sharma. That trio just didn't
Those
work.
like 4-5 players, dude.
Yeah, that try.
Ishan, bro.
No, but I
what
get
worked?
confused with Riyan Parag and Priyam Garg all the
How?
time.
Oh, it is Priyanka.
Ishan, what
They have
worked,
a
what
similar
didn't work?
name, bro. Almost.
Yeah.
I know. No, you're right. For what worked, I think Williamson worked. Like, like their fortune changed around. Like once Williamson was there, they looked like a very different team. Because they didn't start very well. So I think that was like a big inclusion. And they had like a couple of good, like their bowling worked for sure. Like once, Sandeep Sharma stepped out big time in the opening overs, and then Natarajan played really well in the death. So I think they had like one really good opening, like new ball bowler, and one really good death bowler, which a lot of teams don't have, which was
Guys,
good for them.
Trivia question. Who is Sandeep Sharma's bunny?
What?
Oh. Who is his
Virat
bunny?
Kohli.
Correct.
Yeah, he's got him out 7 times, right?
Yeah. And he's got Rohit like 3 times or something. It's quite mad.
He's a fantastic
And
IPL.
his stats match Bumrah's, His stats match Bumrah's. But anyway,
So Shami bowls about 15 kilometers an hour slower.
Noor, what worked, what didn't?
Um, I think you guys have mentioned it. What didn't work for me was Manish Pandey, which is a really big disappointment because before everything, like, because like the last series they played, India played, Manish Pandey was really, he got an opportunity with KL Rahul, wicket keeping, and he was looking really good. So I'm like super disappointed that he didn't play well this season. I think we all predicted him to have a really like explosive season. That didn't happen. He looked a bit scared whenever he came out to play, like he didn't want to get out, and then he would just get out. I think the one thing that did work for them, especially when Holder's form came into like he came into form, was like their bowling was pretty decent. I thought Natarajan was the best Yorker bowler. He was the only one brave enough to bowl Yorkers at the start of the tournament. So I think he was a find for Hyderabad. He was really, really good. And Williamson worked for them
I think
because
you guys are being a bit harsh on Pandey. I didn't think he was that bad. He won a couple of games on his own.
He was very
But he also
inconsistent.
lost a couple.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Exactly.
and
he
also
lost
he
a couple.
bats so slowly.
Fair enough.
I just think if you're batting three for the team, you have to be the one, like, just you have to be the one who's like
Have we lost her?
Yep.
Go.
No, I was literally just saying that I think like Manish Pandey was he was batting at three, and that's like the most important position to bat at. So like he needed to perform really well, and he didn't, and that kind of just trickled down to the rest of the team in terms of where they landed on the table.
Yeah.
And I think that's why Williamson was so important for the team because of Manish Pandey's form.
Not only because of Manish Pandey. We will come to this later when we pick our biggest disappointments. But anyway, surprise package for this team. There are quite a few actually in this team to choose a surprise from. Aryaman, who do you want to go for?
I think I'll go with Natarajan. I mean, he was brilliant in the
Fair
death
enough.
overs, especially.
Can you imagine him and Bumrah bowling Yorkers together to close out an innings? That's something pretty special.
Yeah, that's insane. That'll be insane.
Kabir?
Because Natarajan's already been said, and this shouldn't be a surprise, but for some reason it just feels like a surprise that Sandeep Sharma played as well as he did. He's been consistent for pretty much all of the IPLs that he's played, but for some reason it just feels like a surprise that he just aced it again.
Ishan?
I mean, Natarajan, of course, but I also had Riddhiman Saha. I did not expect him to change the dynamics of the team as he did
Fair
when
enough.
he came in.
Noor?
Natarajan. Wait, Natarajan's not in the India team, right?
He is T20.
He
Because
is.
Varun Chakravarti
He
got injured.
replaced Varun. Yeah.
Mm,
For me, actually, all these guys were obviously, but just for the sake of being different, I think Abdul Samad was pretty good. Like he looks like someone who's got the talent to be a big player in the future. Is exactly what India need, I think, in the future. Because we're lacking
He was better
finishers.
than what I expected he would bowl. So
Who?
Samad.
Samad bowled terribly. He got smashed.
His economy is 13.71.
No, there were a few games where he didn't bowl that badly.
He bowled one thing he did, right? He defended against Dhoni at the end because Bhuvi got injured or something. But yeah. Okay.
Because Dhoni couldn't hit the ball.
Yeah, Dhoni was just not on game. Anyway.
I don't think he bowled that
All
badly.
right, this is an interesting one. This is an interesting one for this team. I don't know who I'm going to pick, but let's see. Biggest disappointment. We'll start with Ishan.
Come on, man. I need to think. I think I was very disappointed by Bairstow, to be honest. I expected him to perform better than he did.
Fair enough.
Because you Bairstow and Warner, that's like your dream opening combination, right? But so I think I would say Bairstow.
Didn't they have a game where they won without losing a wicket?
They didn't win it, but they scored like 180 against Punjab opening and for batting first. So
Yeah, I think that was the only game Bairstow played like he played last season.
Aryaman, who was your biggest disappointment?
I think I'll agree with Eshan. Bairstow was disappointing, but I think he was unlucky too because he had to get dropped to improve the team dynamics.
Yeah.
But he didn't make a case for himself with his performance of this season like he did last season with Warner. So I think Bairstow.
Noor?
Most disappointing?
Yeah.
Manish Pandey.
Kabir?
The biggest disappointment was Bhuvneshwar Kumar's injury.
Abbe, yeah, we're talking about a player, not an injury.
No, but literally that is always the most disappointing thing. I wanted to see him bowl.
Fine.
I missed the guy.
I'll go for one then. Vijay Shankar, biggest disappointment. That's the only reason they needed to get Williamson back into the team. If Vijay Shankar could have adopted the role of number 4, who can give you a few overs, they could have used that overseas position to play someone like Billy Stanlake or someone else to bowl so they're bowling lineup. But because Vijay Shankar just didn't do anything, He had one good innings where he batted with Manish Pandey and won them the game against, I think.
Can I
Yeah.
say something though, Ahaan? Like,
Rajasthan.
I think it's unfair to expect Rajesh Shankar to play number 4.
He's batted number 4 for India. He should be able
I
to play
know,
number 4 in
and I think it
IPL
was
franchise.
It's not like he played well for India at number 4.
But he's
Even
not a
Rishabh Pant
bad
is not
player.
number 4 for India. It doesn't mean he
He's
should.
got the game. He has definitely got the game.
No, if Vijay
Not at
Shankar
4.
is batting at
Vijay
4,
Shankar, according to me, if you
At 6.
saw his 2 innings, the one he played against Rajasthan where he scored a 50 with Manish Pandey, the shots he played in that innings showed you that he has the game to bat at 4 if he just applies himself a bit more. And a couple of other people, but one other innings, I think I can't remember which one.
I
But
disagree.
To be
I
fair,
don't
I
The
thought
big issue here
he had
is
this
just
bro in that
pace.
game against Rajasthan. He played where he just hit Archer over the top for 4 over. Kabir, everyone heard that joke. No one laughed. So
I don't doubt that he has good shots and that he's a decent batsman. I don't doubt that. I just don't think he should bat at 4. It's not a good, like, he's not
Yeah.
not
for the
consistent.
dynamics of the team, he had to, and he's the Indian international capped player. He should be able to carry the team.
And
Bro,
Shankar was
he wasn't
economical
good. Like,
too.
he shouldn't have been selected for India. I don't know what your point
We
is
are
here.
not disagreeing on that, but he was still capped, so you should be able to do well.
But he was very
No.
economical when he was bowling, so I think he
Yeah.
was
He
he
like
wasn't the
basically
worst of the
Maxwell for
all-rounders.
Hyderabad.
I think
Bro,
he was better than
Joginder Sharma
Maxwell.
played for India. Doesn't mean he's a world beater.
Joginder Sharma bowled a World Cup winning over. What is your point here?
Guys.
No,
And
but
he
I
never
think
Catch was
Vijay
taken by
Shankar.
India's finest ever fast bowler. But that's for another day.
No,
I think Vijay
I still
Shankar.
don't agree. I don't think Vijay Shankar at 4 makes any of these IPL teams.
But I think he's just not given, like, he got injured. I think if he had played longer, he might have contributed more. I
Yeah,
think he
fair
probably
enough.
would have contributed more.
Yeah.
Okay, quick question now, okay, for you guys before we move on to Delhi. But if there's a big IPL auction, you only have to retain 2 overseas players in the 5. Rashid and who? Aryaman.
David
Warner.
Warner.
He's been scoring 500 runs
Warner.
every season.
Everyone's Warner ahead of Williamson.
Warner is the best IPL batsman ever.
Yeah.
Williamson will go to another team if they don't retain him.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah,
but
that's
Warner is the best
fine.
IPL batsman ever.
Would I?
Fair enough. Good. Okay, best
He
player.
scored 500 runs
I don't
every
think.
season.
I mean, is there a really conversation here? But let's see. Eshan, one player, best player.
Rashid Khan.
Good. Aryaman,
Rashid Khan.
Kabir.
I think Rashid Khan as well, but I don't think it's just one player. I think David Warner played really well. as
William-
well.
But David Warner in the first half was quite
Even
average.
Williamson, for that matter, though.
Noor.
Or even Natarajan. Like, Natarajan was a very good player.
I want to say Rashid Khan and Natarajan. I think both were really, really good.
I think
I
Rashid.
think Natarajan saved Hyderabad around 20 runs in the death
Yeah,
every
maybe.
time.
But I think Rashid was far above. No one could play him. Like literally, I don't. His economy rate is like 5 point something in a T20 tournament. That's incredible.
He gets better. It's weird. With him, everyone expects him to have, like, not get as many wickets, but he just gets better every bloody season.
Okay. As we can see, Eshan needs to leave soon, so we're going to do Delhi so he can give his views on Delhi because we know he likes Delhi. But moving on to Delhi, what worked and what didn't work? Eshan, bro, what worked and what didn't work for Delhi?
Man, okay. I think Stoinis worked. I really like how Stoinis like he brought like a good balance to the Delhi team, which was missing which has been missing in the past seasons. What did not work? The bowling worked. Yeah, the fast bowling worked for the most part, at least. And what did not work was their middle order, I would say. Like Iyer underperformed. Pant was
Iyer scored
non-existent.
515 runs.
You were criticizing Rahul when he scored 600 runs.
I don't know. I
Yes,
don't
but-
think he. I saw. I didn't know. Okay, he might.
I don't think I had a
really
great
don't know
season.
that.
To be very honest, I don't think I had a great
Exactly.
season.
His
Yeah.
impact with the bat was not felt enough. I feel.
Yeah, exactly.
Even,
I completely
though
agree.
he had the number.
He had one match winning innings. That's it. Otherwise, I think it was pretty
Yeah, he had runs, but I don't think they were impactful runs.
Yeah, exactly. Same with KL Rahul. Anyway.
No.
No.
And he made how can you get your team to like 60 for 1 or 70 for 1 after the power play, right? Or 50 for 1 even. That is a success.
Okay, but what did he do after that?
Their
it's not
just
power
that.
play starts so mainly because of Mayank. Look at the difference in their strike rates.
There's 2 people who batting the power play on.
But look at the difference in their strike rates.
It's still on. I think without KL Rahul, the
Anyway, this is not about Punjab.
Kings 11 would have been nothing.
Kabir, what worked and what didn't work for Delhi?
Um, what worked was, I think, the fast bowling, and what didn't work was that sort of like early middle order. Um, yeah.
Noor, what worked and what didn't work?
Our one of our openers just did not work. Rahane, Shaw, both of them just didn't work. I think that was the fact that we couldn't get out of the power play without losing a wicket. That was that was really. I think that put a lot of pressure on Shekhar Dhawan as well. So he felt that he got out cheaply sometimes. Even though he scored like 600 odd runs, I think the fact that he had four ducks shows that he also didn't have the most consistent IPL. In terms, and the other thing that I think really hindered us was Ishan Sharma's injury. I think if Ishan Sharma wasn't injured, we would have had a much more stable team. Even if he was getting like hit for runs, he would have played. That was just like that third rotating pacer issue would not have become a big deal. And then maybe we didn't have to play Sams, and we could have played at Maya and Marcus Stoinis throughout.
You were the one that was
I was the one.
campaigning for
I was the
Sam's.
one.
Okay.
I rather play Sams over Harshal Patel and Tushar Deshpande and Avish Khan. But I wouldn't play Sams over Ishan Sharma.
They
If
should have given
Ishan Sharma
Paul a
was available,
chance, man.
I do.
Aryaman, what
But
worked and what didn't work?
I think what didn't work was like Noor said, one of the openers always underperformed. I mean, Shaw was just an extra player in the team. He was very bad on the field, and he was very bad while batting too.
In the
And even
second half,
Rahane,
it was not bad in the
yeah,
first.
in the second half, but yeah, in the second half he was pretty shit to be blunt. And even Rahane wasn't great while opening. So I think their opening pair only, I think Dhawan was the one who was playing that too very inconsistently. And another thing that didn't work was Rishabh Pant. I mean, he wasn't really finishing games, but that's still acceptable because you had Stoinis coming in after him some games. So yeah, I think that didn't work for them. What worked for Delhi was again fast bowling was brilliant. Nokia and Rabada were brilliant together. That really came together, and Stoinis was one of the best all rounders in the tournament. So that worked for you very really well.
Yeah, I think what worked for Delhi was their bowling. I think Aksar was brilliant. I think Ashwin bowled pretty well sometimes. When he decided not to do this, all this, I don't know what all rubbish he was bowling. When he just bowled normally, he bowled well. But yeah, that worked. The fast bowling worked. And what didn't work was our Indian batting. Simple. Like, I don't know. Dhawan played well, yeah, but Dhawan played well. He got 600 runs with four ducks, which is like, come on, bro. He scored 20 runs.
Bizarre.
Don't get a duck.
Yeah.
Get some
Yeah.
runs. But yeah, it was quite a weird season, quite disappointing. That didn't work. That didn't work for sure. And I think what didn't work is also we just lost momentum in the middle. Like the injuries hit us. Mishra, even if we had Mishra and not Ishan, we had Mishra, we wouldn't have had to play Praveen Dubey. And Ishan would have been like,
I thought he was quite good though. I really like Praveen Dubey.
whatever. Anyway, let's move on to the
Even
selections.
one thing with Delhi,
Yeah.
towards the latter half, I was always scared of a collapse. Like as soon as
Yeah.
they lost one or two wickets, I was like, okay, they're not making anything now.
And also
which
what
happened
didn't
more often
work
than not.
was our transfer policy. We got Rahane in before to do I don't know what, and we sold Bolt to go and through our team only. Now what can we say about this transfer policy? Okay, so now the big calls.
We also sold Jayant Yadav to Delhi, to Mumbai.
Did you see that? Did you see the
Yeah.
meme? In the final, the only people who took wickets were Coulter-Nile, Jayant, and Bolt. All three are ex-Delhi. But yeah, anyway,
we came second, man. We didn't have that bad a season.
We had a good season.
we came second. But honestly, we came second because in the second half, everyone basically fell off the cliff except Hyderabad. Hyderabad came up. I mean, like, either the people who were very good in the first half became terrible in the second half, except Mumbai. And then whoever was terrible in the second half, in the first half, became very good in the second half. So it kind of like balanced out. We were probably, on average, we were probably the second best team, I'd say. Yeah.
We were the second best team. We were
But
definitely
by
the
a
second.
mile, we were not like even close to being the first best team.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think just
Anyway.
everyone besides Mumbai played badly. It just
Yeah.
feels like that because Mumbai played so much better than everyone else.
Anyway, yeah.
But
So
I
surprise.
think we played some good cricket.
Yeah, surprise package.
It's a young
Ishan.
team.
A surprise package. That's an interesting one. Let me see. I would say Akshar Patel because I didn't expect him to bowl as well as he did, honestly.
Fair enough. Aryaman?
I think Norkia was a surprise package. We came into the team, no one expected him to take 20 plus wickets, and no one expected him to bowl 155, 156, 150.
156.
So yeah, 156, that ball to Butler was just amazing. And 20 plus wicket, now that was the biggest surprise of the tournament, one of the biggest surprises of the tournament for me.
Kabir,
Nokia.
surprise?
Akshar Patel, I didn't think he was going to play as well as he did.
Noor?
I'm gonna say Nokia because I always prefer Akshay Patel to Jadeja also. So I'm gonna say Nokia because I think he was genuinely a surprise. We got him last minute and he was fantastic.
Yeah, I think, I mean, for me as well, obviously Axel and Nokia, but I think Stoinis was also a surprise. Stoinis has never had that kind of a season at six, and he took wickets. He got like 350 runs and 12 or 13 wickets, and he was basically our go-to man for all things whenever we needed it. So I think, yeah, that was a pretty big surprise for me as well. All right, biggest disappointment. We have some nice names here to choose from. So, Kabir,
Whoa, what? Sorry, I didn't hear that.
biggest disappointment.
Oh, Punt,
Noor,
Pant.
So
Aryaman,
Prithvi Shaw.
Ishan.
Month for me.
Yeah, it's Pant for me as well, I think. He at least Shaw won us 2 games of his bat. Pant didn't win us a single game this season. And the one game he decided to score some runs, he got out again looking like Pant of old. But
But I don't
he
think
also
of his
did that.
own.
Looks like he's losing weight. He looks like he's getting back into form.
yeah,
Yeah, fingers crossed. I don't know, man.
let's see. Let's see. Anyway, now for the best player, these are also quite a few options. Noor,
Um, this is hard. Marcus Stoinis, but I think Rabada also played like I mean I was the only one who predicted from the orange cap I mean the purple cap with the guys, and by the way Ahaan texted me saying Rabada you should have gone for spinner after, so you know what Ahaan, I got this one over you.
fine,
So
fair enough.
I think Rabada and Stoinis, I can't decide between the two. It's up to you guys.
Ishan,
Yeah, I mean, same. I think I Rabada, Stoinis. I think I'm confused. I think I'll go for both as well. I think both of them were equally important to the team.
Aryaman,
I want to say Rabada and Stoney. Yeah, it's confusing. It's really
Kabir.
confusing to pick one out of the two.
I think the best player was Dhawan.
with 4 ducks.
Yeah,
Okay.
still 600 runs.
Fine. For me, it was Stoinis or Aksar. I thought they were both pretty good. Rabada, yes, he got 30 wickets, but I mean, some of those wickets were quite like gifts. Like they were inconsequential wickets at stages where it didn't really matter much. I mean, I know he takes wickets.
But when you have in the IPL, when people like Rahul Tewatia are scoring runs, you never know what can happen. So even if you're clearing
Yeah,
up,
but I think Stoinis was much more impactful in what he did in terms of the output he gave for the team.
yeah,
He
I understand. Yeah, I mean, I
Stoinis won
totally.
us 3 games on his own.
I don't doubt that. I'm like Stoinis was fantastic, but the effect Rabada has on a bowling lineup
I
and
agree.
the
I love Rabada. He's my favorite. He's my
player like
favorite foreign
Rabada
player.
gives, I think, is also something we should factor in. So
I completely agree, but I think Aksar went too far under the radar, and he scored runs also, Aksar. And then
my issue, you know, one of the issues I had with Delhi, I'm just going to point this out, is that I think while Shreyas is developing into a captain, he's made some good decisions, but there were sometimes how he was like using Aksar in particular this season, and some of like where he was bowling
he was
people, I think
scared.
because he sometimes became too defensive. He wasn't
He
attacking
was
enough.
scared to bowl Ashwin to the right-handers and Aksar to the left-handers.
Yeah.
That's why I think Mishra was so important, because as a wrist spinner, you can bowl to both. He could have tossed it up to him. Anyway,
He's my favorite Delhi player of all time, Amit Mishra.
okay, finally, let's go to the final team. This is going to be the shortest discussion because there is nothing that didn't work in this team. There is only things that worked for them. But yeah, Mumbai, what worked apart from everything? Aryaman, what worked and what didn't work?
What worked for them was, like you said, everything. But I think every player was excellent in the
I
team.
think
Every
every player
single
won a
player.
single game, at least one game for them,
Yeah.
no? Except maybe
Except no, I
Except
think
I think Krunal Pandya was
yeah,
not
even
at his
Rohit
best.
Sharma, like he wasn't
at his
in the
best.
tournament. Like he didn't perform at all, but like he won the final. So Can't.
No, he won
Yeah,
another one
so-
against Kolkata where he scored 80 or something.
Yeah, so even when Rohit was injured, it didn't really affect Mumbai Indians that much because of the
So did anything
other.
not work?
Yeah,
Uh,
no, I don't think so.
Everything worked. Everything clicked. And I want to apologize to Ishan Kishan for calling him fat before this tournament. And for saying that he was
Kabir, Kabir, you want to get your list of apologies out on that one?
No, I've already made my apologies. I made some poor
Kishan played
takes.
fantastic cricket. I
Kabir,
still don't
what
think he's
did
at India level, but I think he played really, really good cricket for Mumbai.
what
Like,
worked and what didn't work, Kabir?
What worked was everything. I mean, I want to say that middle order batting was something that actually no, I don't know, man. It all worked. There's what can you say? Yeah,
I
I
think
mean,
that their uncapped Indian batting is what worked the most.
exactly. Yeah,
And
I was
their
gonna say that was my surprise because I don't think there was any particular person who
and their
surprised me.
two
But yeah,
two bowling or their two
yeah.
opening bowlers worked as well.
What didn't work was like Rahul Chahar, like once or twice.
No, what didn't work actually was that third seamer. It towards the end it became a bit of a liability between
Yeah.
Coulter and Pattinson. They both were getting hit around quite a bit. Anything you want to add, Ishan?
Not really, honestly. There's not much to say. I think Rahul Chahar was sort of a surprise for me. I did not expect him
yeah.
to
We shall
bowl as
come to
well as he
that.
did.
We shall come to that.
Okay.
But yeah, otherwise, anything else that didn't work or worked?
No.
Yeah, I think
Okay.
this is annoying, bro. It's damn annoying to talk about a team that's like a machine and you can't. They didn't really do anything controversial.
I mean, this started so like in the beginning, Bumrah was we didn't have a couple of like the
Yeah.
first 2 or 3 games he played. He was quite like out of it. But then everything just clicked for them. Like everything just clicked.
Let me just ask a question. I think that might be interesting. And I've asked this in the chat before. That do you think that this Mumbai Indian team or would beat international teams, and which ones would you say?
I
All.
think they were every international team.
Yeah, it's quite possible that they'll beat every
if
international
the
team.
players they have are playing for them and not the international teams, then they would beat.
Yeah. Yeah,
I
that's what
don't
I
think
mean.
England. I don't think they can beat England though.
They'll
I
beat
think-
England. Their bowling lineup is better than England's bowling lineup.
Yeah, I think that. Yeah,
For sure, I think they can beat England.
I think that the thing is, obviously, it's not for sure, but I think there's just the fact that there's possibility that they could beat every international team is just insane.
This is what I can't understand how they have been allowed to build up this team in an auction format. It just does not
Yeah.
make sense. But
Yeah.
I hope this big auction comes just so it screws up Mumbai Indians, man. That's all I want this big auction.
No, I do like Mumbai though. I think they're just such a good organization.
Yeah, but I don't want them to do well anymore. बहुत हो गया है, all
Yeah.
over, you know.
The thing is that I find them different from Chennai. Like every time Chennai won, I was like, I hate Chennai. I don't want them to win. With Mumbai, I'm like, that's fine. Like I don't mind.
No,
These
I
guys
mean-
have built their own players
For
up.
me, it's the other way around. For me, it's the other way around.
It's the other way around.
I mean,
No, for me, I prefer
Chennai,
Mumbai to Chennai,
True,
but
true,
Mumbai
true.
won too many times.
No, I
I
just
think-
think it's like unfair that like this team is even possible in an IPL.
Let's see what
I
happens.
think-
I hope that team gets ripped up in the auction.
I think
Question,
getting-
right? Who do you retain next year? 5. Who do you
Wait,
retain?
let Aryaman, what count?
I think getting bowled before the season began was the biggest dub of the season.
Trades are
It is
brilliant.
the biggest
They
dub.
got Decock on a trade. They got Bolt on a trade. Other teams are idiotic enough to give them all these good players.
It's just
But
I
yeah,
don't know
okay,
how
fine.
they get all
Good
these
question
players.
by Noor. Come on, let's see. Who are your 5? If I give you 3 retentions, 2 RTMs, let's say you can have 3 cap players max and 2 overseas. Who are the 5?
Who
Well,
are
my
my
3
five?
Indians.
What do I think they will do?
Who are your 5? Chalo, you say first.
Oh, Hardik Pandya, Bumrah, Rohit Sharma. You retain. You match Quinton, and then Pollard. It's hard.
Pollard is about
Old.
like he
He's
probably has
always old.
max a couple of years left.
Like league captains though.
Who's
Like
it
what
going to
do
be, Noor? You can't consult. You have to make a decision.
you know what? I would retain. I would match Sky. I think he's
Fine.
fantastic.
Kabir?
I'd say the same. I'd say the same as Noor.
Okay, Ishan?
Wait, didn't you say 3 Indians and 2 foreign players?
Oh yeah,
Or
you
could
can't
be?
have no, but no, you can't have a cap.
No,
You
I
can't have
think Sky.
Sky is uncapped, so it counts.
Okay. Then I think Pollard isn't that old. He looks like he's old, but he's not that old. He's like mid
But bro,
30s.
Pollard is
How old is he?
replaceable.
True. Okay, I would go for again the same. I think then Bumrah, Sharma, Rohit Sharma, this one Hardik Pandya, and Quinton de Kock, and yeah, Sky. I think Sky has a lot. Yeah.
Aryaman?
I think Mumbai will take Pollard in next season because he's just one of the players with the face of the team. He's like Dhoni. He's replaceable, but he cannot be replaced in the team. You
He's
get
like
what I'm
Neeta
saying?
Ambani's best friend.
Yeah, I mean, if he's one of those players who you just can't imagine playing for any other team. So I think Mumbai will
I'll
take
take
Pollard.
him at Delhi, bro.
So I think one of they'll have to let go of one of Quinton or Surya Kumar. I think it's going to be Surya Kumar that I think miss out in my opinion.
I
Just
think
because
I think they're gonna go Rohit. Obviously, the three are the same for everyone, and then I think the two are going to be. I think they'll go Bolt because I think Quinton de Kock is replaceable. There are enough overseas openers that in I think in Mumbai it doesn't really matter who plays. The team template is so well set and their roles are so well defined that at that level anyone will do it. I think even Finch if he goes into Mumbai will play well. I'm telling you.
but wicket keeper opener, I think that's
But
wicket
it's,
keeper.
that's why I think it'll be Bolt and Kishan.
No.
They can retain Kishan, honestly.
I think there are too many fast bowlers for them to retain, like they
Yeah.
that they could potentially buy for them to retain ball. Even though he's
Maybe.
one of the best, there's so many fast
So are we all
international
saying
fast.
Krunal Pandya is done at Mumbai?
He's done for.
No, you know what?
Yeah.
I think
So
Mumbai will
it's
spend more money buying him than any other.
Yeah, they can
Let's see.
retain him,
Mumbai, the
right?
problem with Mumbai, I
They'll buy
feel
him
is
at the auction.
they made everyone look so good that I think all the players will go for like 8 or 10 crores. So they won't be able to buy everyone back. They'll have to make the decisions on who they're going to buy
No,
back.
I don't think teams will spend as much money on Kunal Pandya as Mumbai would be
Krunal will
willing
go
to.
for 8. I'm telling you.
yeah,
100%.
even last auction, Bangalore spent 8 on Kunal, but Mumbai got him
Exactly. He will go
RTM.
for 8. He's a very useful player to have in your team.
Yeah, I agree.
I hope Delhi buy him because he always performs against Delhi. I want just Delhi to buy him, and so he can't perform against
I
us.
want Delhi to buy back. No, but if Delhi I want Delhi to buy Chris Wokes again. If he's
No,
if
he's
he's
so
not.
bad in T20.
What?
Stats are terrible.
No.
I want Chris. I like him, man. I think
Noor just wants him because he
Stokes
looks
is
good.
ranked higher than Ben
Noor just
Stokes.
wants him because he looks good. I'm telling you, he looks good, so Noor wants him in the team. She
Dude,
wants
firstly, 1 second. That's a bit of a sexist little comment,
That's
right?
a
No.
very sexist comment.
It's not a sexist comment at all. She's told me 100 times I find Vogue so good looking. His T20 stats are terrible.
I think he's pretty hot, man. I would like to see him.
See?
In
There are a few players she said this about. Cummins, Stoinis.
Oh, dude,
Who else?
if I
No?
could make a team of just like the best looking guys and make them play for Delhi, for sure.
Actually,
dude.
can I just make a point about Stoinis? I didn't talk enough about him for Delhi. I thought he was sick in this tournament.
Okay, guys, can we finish with the
The
Mumbai?
big Stoin.
Guys, let us finish with the Mumbai stuff. Okay, surprise. If anyone has a surprise, Ishan had one. Ishan, who's a surprise?
Who would I have? I said yeah, Rahul Chahar.
enough.
I did not expect him to perform as well as he did.
Aryaman, surprise.
Ishan Kishan. I think
Noor?
500 runs is a surprise, especially
Yeah.
if you're Ishan Kishan.
Ishan Kishan,
Uncapped player.
I thought he was a pretty like average player. He played well.
Kabir?
Maybe play for
Bro,
India.
Trent Bolt, like he was dog for Delhi. I didn't expect him to just turn his life around.
Sucked for Delhi last season.
Yeah.
But you guys forget the season before that he took like 20 wickets. Anyway,
Yeah. Stuff.
for me it was Kishan as well. I didn't after the documentary I kind of didn't like the guy's ego.
Yeah, he's
After that I was
kind
like,
of an asshole.
Can I ask you guys a question?
Wait, let us finish this, Noor, then you can ask the question. Let us finish the Mumbai stuff. Okay. Now, then biggest disappointment. I want to see what you guys say for this. There is no disappointment in this team. Noor,
I literally have none. Like skip. I don't think there's
Ishan?
anything.
I mean, for me, as I said, it was only Rohit Sharma because I thought he'd perform more than he did. But it's okay.
Kabir.
My biggest disappointment was Hardik Pandya's back. That's it. I wish he could bowl.
Aryaman.
If I really had to pick one, even really had to pick one, I think I'd pick Krunal Pandya because he wasn't as good as he was in the previous seasons.
I was
But-
going to say either Krunal or Coulter-Nile because they spent like 8 crores on Coulter-Nile and he didn't really do anything.
Like I told you, Ahaan plays shit IPLs. He does not play well in the
But
IPL.
he was also injured for most of it. He only came in at the back end and then. But you do understand, they had Malinga. If Malinga had played, this team would have been untouchable. That third seamer would have been Malinga. That seamer would have been Malinga, Bolt, and Bumrah, bro.
Bro,
What the
Malinga
hell?
is geriatric.
Is
No,
Malinga so
Malinga
good
is
anymore? Is Malinga even good anymore?
Malinga can bowl at the death. He can do it. He'll bowl 6 Yorkers.
Then who are they? Would they not play Pollard or would they not play
No, they
Bolt?
would not play Coulter/Pattinson.
Oh, yeah.
That team would have been even more unbeatable. My God, what a team, bro. How have they built this team? This is quite a story. Anyway, best player. Take your pick. Kabir, who's your best player?
just with Bumrah.
Noor?
Trent Bolt.
What? Ishan?
It's almost impossible to pick like one player because everyone performed. But I would, if I had to again, I would go for Bumrah as well.
Aryaman?
Can I pick two? I think I'll go with Bumrah and Quinton de Kock.
For me, it was Sky. I thought Sky
I
was
knew you were gonna say this.
player of the tournament for them. He was absolutely insane. The guy's got 500 runs. And man, his celebration after he scored that game against Kohli was just the best thing. That was
Can I
like,
ask a question now?
yes, now you can ask your question. Noor.
Who do you think, like, if Delhi had a choice, would they want to, like, if they had a choice, would they do Bolt or Nokia? Who would they choose?
Nokia, I think.
Yeah.
Bold.
I think just because the chemistry he brings with Rabada.
Bold because
Yeah.
he gives you a left arm option.
No, but I just think that if Delhi were to do it over, they wouldn't change anything.
Yeah, I agree.
I'd give them Sams and take back Bold. I mean, why not,
Yeah.
bro?
I mean,
Dude, this is Ishan got injured.
Okay,
Otherwise,
we forget that Nokia, he came in as a replacement. Would you rather have Bolt or Chris Wokes?
Chris Wokes was hotter.
Old.
Chris Wokes.
whoa.
Bolt,
Okay.
obviously.
Bolt.
Honestly, at first, I'll tell you this now that we're talking about this about Delhi. I thought Roy getting injured was a blessing in disguise. By the end of the tournament, I realized we needed Roy more than anyone else. If we had Roy to open with Shikhar Dhawan, we would have had Roy, Shikhar Dhawan, Shreyas Iyer, Rishabh Pant, and then Stoinis. Or actually, we could have put Rahane in at 3 or something. I told you guys this at the beginning. We should have given Lalit Yadav some time. He would have
Shut
come
up.
number 6. Bro, he couldn't have been worse than Shaw, and he couldn't have been worse than Rahane.
Bro. No, he could easily have been.
Shaw was crap. Shaw
Shaw
was
was
crap. I
terrible.
hate him.
I want someone to do the stats and to tell me how many times Shaw got out in the first over or in the first 2 overs. I'm pretty sure the number was very high.
And his fielding was pretty shit, dude. I mean, I don't know
Yeah.
what he was
Let's
doing.
not
I think
go
with
Ahaan
the
could have fielded better.
I'm a pretty good fielder. Hello, I'm a very good fielder. I take some pretty insane catches.
Yeah, Ahaan, we are not an IPL level fielder.
Nor are you.
That's true. That's fair enough. But I'm better than you.
No,
Not
you
sure.
can't be. I'm pretty sure I'm better in the outfield. You're better behind the stumps.
Ahaan, I literally don't
quicker
even
than
keep
you.
anymore.
I'm quicker
You're
than you.
quicker than me. Are you
You
mine?
can race me. Anyway, why are we talking?
Oh my
I
god.
think we're going off topic.
Thank you guys for listening to this podcast. That was the IPL in review. We will come back now when India starts playing against Australia for a number of different podcasts. We'll see what we want to talk about. Kabir and I will keep roasting each other because I've got him out too many times anyway in the driveway.
Ahaan,
So that's besides the point.
Park behind your house.
So thanks
more
guys for watching.
times,
Like,
more times than
comment,
you even said your own
share,
name to someone.
like, comment, share, and subscribe.